Hello, my name is Dr. Sophia Omoro, owner and designer at Odaomo. Thank you for joining us for our docuseries, Conversations with Odaomo, Beyond the Beautiful Things. Today, our topic will delve into the cultural appropriation of African fashion and creativity. Join us as we explore this very relevant topic. And don't forget, stay to the end to hear my wrap-up. See you soon.
Bubu, baby, girl, how are you?
I'm doing well. Trying to be calm with all the madness that's happening in Lagos, Nigeria.
There's a lot happening around you right now, and I'm so sorry. I hope you're keeping safe, keeping your head up. Actually, the last time we spoke, you were in Nairobi. We were supposed to link up, and that's literally the day COVID hit. Remember? It was literally that day. Like, patient zero landed the day we were supposed to hook up. So you're, Bubu, you're a creative director, you're a fashion stylist, and you're the designer behind the cutting-edge brand I Am Isigo. You dropped a new I Am Isigo collection, and you were just featured on CNN Style as the designer choosing Pan-African pride over Western attention. You're touted in that piece as an African fashion rule breaker, and quoted as saying that every piece you create for African women is a love letter to them. Bubu, if that's not inspiring, I don't know what is.
Thank you.
So we're here today to talk about, a dirty word in fashion, a dirty term, and that term is cultural appropriation. So, I want to hear from you what your definition of cultural appropriation is.
I think I always tell people, and I always have this conversation. I actually just had it yesterday also. When people just copy and paste, I think that's the real definition of cultural appropriation. Even when I go around different African countries and I'm inspired by different cultures, I'm not copying and pasting like an exact kikoi textile print or technique or a kente print or technique or a Bogolan technique. I'm reinventing the idea inspired by that, and that in a sense is paying homage to that tradition or that technique in a respectful way. I wouldn't want somebody to come and just lift up my work and just say, yeah, this is what I'm going to do now. I think a lot of people are really lazy into understanding what the real meaning of appreciating someone's culture is. And that's when it now falls into cultural appropriation, when you don't take time to reinvent this idea properly in a new modern way, as opposed to just taking and just putting it somewhere else for your own, I don't know, profit or
commercial gain.
Exactly, commercial gain, and a lot of people are all only based on that. I can't, even when I do kente, people don't even know it's kente. I have to be saying, no, it's not ashoke, it's kente, because I've reinvented it and redesigned it, used unconventional materials and reassessed it in a whole different ballgame. Then that gives this new different ideology. And people don't understand that's the way to actually pay respect to traditions and techniques. If I'm being inspired by a Bantu symbol or a Dinkra, I'm not going to copy it exactly the way it is. And we as new beings that have evolved, we also have the advantage of seeing so many things and also reinventing these ideas. We have someone even as popular as Prada became popular by reinventing a Balenciaga jacket. Do you get what I mean? She didn't say, okay, I'm going to copy and paste this and then I'll become famous. Do you get what I mean? A lot of people just think, okay, they can take and be entitled to everything. I know for me, even in a sense, even for me as an African, as a black person, traveling around, I am always very, very careful with the different cultures I'm going into. I need to understand who they are. So I can even understand how to be different for somebody else who's not even from Africa, trying to just say, oh yeah, I'm coming here, I'm coming to take from this and I'm doing this, without even trying to put into consideration an individual idea or an original concepts and trying to reinvent this, but just saying, okay, yeah, we're doing this, and then this is what's happening from that. So I think that's what people need to understand: giving respect where respect is due, and where it's meant to be.
So acknowledgement is a big part of that, right? So if Prada, for example, borrows from Balenciaga and maybe acknowledges them, because there's also this idea that there's nothing new anymore, you know? Everything has been done. Now everything is recycled, you know? Everything has to be somehow reinterpreted or remixed or, you know, whatever it is. So acknowledgement is a big, do you think that goes a long way in sort of pacifying or making cultural appropriation less of a sting?
I think acknowledgement in itself, but also in the actual tangible idea itself has to be done.
In the actual products, you mean?
Yes, back and forth. Everything is day and night, dry, wet, warp and weft. Everybody has to understand there are two sides to a coin. So I feel like aside from acknowledging, the concept in itself has to be fresh, has to be new. You can't just lift and, because it wasn't yours at the end of the day. So why would you just take something and feel so entitled to that idea and then just, so yeah, but I'm giving you credit. You have to be like, you have to make an extra effort to be like, but how else can I make this thing, seem much more new? That's for me, it's all about going. That's why I go to different places and bring different ideas and merge them together, because I want to highlight this idea, and also my idea being inspired through this ideas.
Referencing many different things. Now, my next question to you is it possible that African design has always been, a silent, unrecognized inspiration for Western fashion? Has it always been this way, or is this sort of a recent phenomena?
I mean, I guess and that's what I always say to people in terms of decolonizing the mind. I mean, we've been told that we don't have anything, we don't do anything, blah 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 blah, and the idea is that cotton was here. Like, everybody came to get the cotton from here, go plant it somewhere else. You get, everything was from here. We've always had everything. We've always had the techniques. They've always been taken from us, and it's sort of this suppressive ideology. And that's why my work is based on removing this form of suppression and decolonizing your mind into removing this idea into thinking, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. Fashion in Africa has been a staple for inspiring so many people. Europe, Asia, America, all other continents have been inspired by the techniques of our hands here. People don't really want to admit it, but it's the truth. I mean, so many endless ideas that exist here, even that are still not even been discovered, and that's what my job is here. My job is to show people that if you tell me you don't have something, I'm going to tell you you have something, and I don't want to hear can't or no or whatever you think you're negative about. The idea is that I know, in a sense, that everything comes from here. So it's my job as a messenger to sort of prove to everybody, this is what you can find here in Kampala. This is what you can find here in Nairobi. This is what you can find here in Tanzania or in Mali or in Kinshasa. And then this is what the idea of removing borders is, because borders is also a colonized state of mind. When you remove all these borders and you bring all these ideas together, which ideally people would never do really, you realize everything is connected. You see that the Ashoke technique is so much more similar to the Kente technique or the Kita found in coding. And it's like, wow, how are we now bothered and now think, oh yeah, we have this here? It's like, no, this is the divide and conquer situation that we all try to fight against. And it's sort of removing that idea and bringing all these different ideas together and creating magic. Because at the end of the day, this continent is full of magic. And I want to show everybody on a daily basis that there's magic that exists in every single part of not only Nigeria, Kenya, every single part of this continent.
So you keep mentioning the continent, all the cities you're mentioning are in Africa. I mean, I read somewhere that you're really just making clothes for Africans. Like you have no desire to really, you haven't said New York, you haven't said LA, you haven't said, Milan, you haven't said Rome, you haven't said Paris.
I'm not trying to myself, but I'm trying to make people understand that my number one priority will always be my people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only natural thing to do. I mean, it's the people that I want to praise or be proud of that I would answer to first of all. I mean, we've shown in Paris, we're stuck in New York, we're stuck in India, we've shown in London, but it's like my inspiration, my ideas come from where I'm based, which is on this continent, and I would never give up or push them aside, trying to please other people. I want to please my people first, which is why I've taken out time to always, come and visit you all the time, come to Kenya and come connect with different people. And it's like, why am I going to another continent where, I'm not from? Do you get what I mean? Why can't I connect with my people first of all and highlight the amazing magic that exists between these different ideas and find a way to connect all these places together, not only through design, but also through art and communication also.
Now, changing track a bit, so much has happened, global quarantine, police brutality here in Kenya over curfews. I don't know if you heard about that. Black Lives Matter, unfortunately NSARS now in Nigeria. Is today's racial and political tension making us Africans more relevant on the global radar? I'll give you an example, right? So NSARS happened, right? It's been very problematic for you guys. Artists put out a message to Beyonce. They were asking for support from a Western artist who had referenced a lot of Nigerian culture.
It's good for people to know what's happening. Though people think because we suffer and we smile, so we don't have issues, but that's the Nigerian spirit. That's the African spirit. We've been suffering. We've been exploited. And that's the thing, no matter what, this is also a big major plan because they're like, oh yeah, let's do this. Oh yeah, these people need our help. Yeah, let's bring in this person and this person now. Yeah, let's come and save the day. And then another way of exploiting us at the same time. So I think all this is all like one major plan. The people who are in office are the ones without the ideas. The people with the ideas will never be in office. So clearly, those people who are in office don't have the mind frame to even see further than that because number one, they're too old. They're ready to give up everything for their old age because they've stolen so much. So I mean, to hell with everybody else. I mean, it's such a selfish society. Same thing that happened with slave trade. You'd sell off the ritualists and the spiritualists because those are the main people that are fundamentally holding the community together. The notion of Orisha, Nkisi, or Voodoo was held together as everybody as a community, but then they came Christianity and the rest of the other religions, and it's like, oh yeah, this is a new packaged ideology for you to now have and be a better person. But it's like, how do you know what's good for us? How do you know what's good for us if you're not even from here? We are telling you what's good for us, telling you what we want. And we're being oppressed and suppressed all the time. Yeah. And it's so sad that this is the only way now. This is the only way because it's been pre-programmed already, as per, if anything bad happens in Africa, yeah, then everybody now feels bad for us, and then, oh wow, the saviors are going to come and save us.
But I think it's also interesting this. I think it's also interesting this year how shit has hit the fan everywhere. The fires are in North America, they're in Europe, they're in Africa. So there's this sense of universality about everybody's struggle, and I think that's a beautiful thing to see.
And everybody's speaking out, and that's what everybody needs to understand. We need to continuously speak out and speak out. This half of these old clowns in government don't even know how to send an email. They can't even use their phone, so for sure they're not the ones tweeting or doing anything. And I feel like, as your question asked, yes, we are getting more and more of an attention, but is it the right attention? That's the real question. Are we getting the right attention? Because attention can be right and wrong at any point in time. The question is, do we have the right attention? And is that attention for our own benefit or for someone else's benefit? And for me, in a sense, I'm of course saying I don't know if it's the right attention for us. I'm happy for that, but is it the right attention that we need that's going to push us forward or pull us back? And it's very difficult to answer that question because these are really, really tricky times. And time will tell. And removing borders, if we come together, we are going to be able to have the right attention that we need at the end of the day.
So speaking of attention, as you know, as we see every day in the media, African faces, Black faces, they're becoming more visible for mainstream brands. Representing mainstream brands, whether it's campaigns, commercials, modeling. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? And also, I mean, do you think that's here to stay, or do you think it's just of the moment? Do you think it's convenient for brands right now, or do you think, it's got some sticking power?
I mean, you can't keep people suppressed forever.
Or you can't exclude them forever from the narrative?
But I mean, at the end of the day, nothing is hidden under the sun. Everyone can see. You can see how beautiful you are, honey. Like, look at your skin. Look at us. We're like amazing.
We are amazing, Bubu.
Do you get what I mean? Like for me, in some of my in my creative direction of my works or my shoots, I also include people with disabilities, and I'm like, yes, because these people have been excluded all the time, irrespective of race or color. We should always include people, and this is the right time to include people. It's always been the right time to include people, but I think now everyone thinks it's convenient to do that. Everyone who hasn't been doing it is now, oh yeah, so this is the cool thing now. Okay, let's do it. But I think, I mean, if you're doing it and it's the cool thing now, c'est la vie. That's how life is. But make sure you're consistent with it because we ain't going nowhere.
You literally cannot buy your brand of energy. I love you. I just love you. Thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I know there's a lot happening in the background of your life. We stand with you, Bubu, and I hope you and I can meet up for a drink in Nairobi in a few weeks.
Yes, we will. Inshallah, we definitely will. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It was so lovely.
Thank you, Bubu and Annabel, for tackling this very sensitive topic. For me, the use of another culture's image, aesthetic, heartbeat should serve as an inspiration, as a bridge to an existing gap, as a means of lifting that culture up as you yourself rise, as opposed to using them as a mere dispensable commodity. Thank you so much for joining us, and join us for the next conversation with Adalmo, Beyond the Beautiful Things.